Welcome to Into the Light, a podcast by Mending Village where we stand united in advocating for juvenile mental health and suicide prevention. I'm your host, Caden, and we're going to embark on a journey of awareness, understanding, and resilience. At Mending Village, we believe in the transformative power of conversation. We believe in shedding light on the challenges that our youth are facing and fostering a community of support for our children. Into the Light is not just a podcast. It's a beacon of hope. It's a safe place where we confront the shadows that are surrounding juvenile mental health and suicidal stigmas. Join us as we engage in honest, heartfelt conversations, share the stories of triumph, and amplify the voices of those who are inspiring change. Together, we strive to break the silence. We are erasing stigmas and igniting a movement for suicide prevention. This podcast isn't just about shedding light on our struggles. It's about guiding our youth into a future where their mental health is prioritized and where they can find strength, understanding, and unwavering support. So grab your headphones and join us on Into the Light, because at Mending Village, we believe that with every conversation, every single story shared, and every heart touched, that we will bring a little more light into the world of juvenile mental health. Welcome to the first ever Into the Light podcast, episode number 1, the great kickoff, the very beginning. You were here first. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. As it said, I am your host, Caden, and we are going to talk about Mending Village. We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about how you can support our organization and the children that we're fighting for, and how you can support the children in your own local communities. We wanted the very first episode to talk about how Mending Village got our start. Where did we come from, this random organization that you're now hearing about? How did we get our start? Where did our roots come from, and where are we going? So in order to do that, we need to go back to the very, very beginning. We need to go back to January of 2021 in a little mobile home park in a little trailer in Salt Lake City, Utah. We started our organization, we started the program for a child that we needed help with, for our own child, our little Aspen, who has been the very forefront of the fight the Mending Village has been in from that moment forward. We started this organization because we found out just how many kids there are in need of mental health advocacy. We had a child, as we talked about Aspen, that has a diagnosis called DMDD. And that is a very undiscussed, untreated condition where we were finding that we were way in over our heads and we needed help. And there was none out there. There was nobody that could help us. There was nobody willing to help her. And we were not okay with that. And so we started the organization. We figured if there was any way that we could get this help for this kid, the best way to do it would be for us to advocate. And we knew if she needed help, there's got to be other families out there just like her. And we found out that we were correct. So Mending Village was born. We started very small, trying to advocate for her and her services, and it's grown tremendously over the years. And we found out in talking with some of the mental health providers in our little area just how overwhelmed they were and just how bad that these organizations themselves were struggling with treating the kids that needed help. And so we started out small. We started talking with, very local small organizations like Valley Behavioral Health. And we quickly realized that we were in over our heads. And so we started reaching out to other organizations. We reached out to 6 County Mental Health down in southern Utah, and we reached out to Duchesne, and we reached out to Millard County, and we found that the story from each of them was very, very similar, that they were all unable to help because of their dire situation, because they were understaffed, underfunded, and not helped by anybody. And we were not good with that. We knew that was a problem. We knew that was a problem that only, an advocacy could help fix and help talk to. And we wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to be a part of that solution. And so we said, if the larger corporations that are helping mental health and the smaller organizations are struggling to work together to take care of these children and to actually help with these mental health crises, then we needed to step forward. We needed to take a stance and reach out to our legislators and reach out to our state leaders and county leaders and find out how we could participate in that problem and how we could, create programs and raise funds to take care of those kids in need. And so we did just that. We reached out to about March of 2021. We reached out to our state legislators, and we met some great people in both the Utah State House and Senate. And they agreed with us that it was a major, major problem and that we needed to work together to find solutions to those problems. And so they took a step forward and actually connected us with federal leaders. And those federal leaders started to actually put together programs or put together ways that we can start trying to help these kids. One of the biggest things that was said to us during that meeting time was that we are approximately 10 to 15 years behind in the state of Utah. I want you to sit with that for a second. With the amount of kids that need help and with the amount of problems that we know we have with mental health, and there's a lot of topics and a lot of things you can cover in mental health. But with the amount of children in need, the amount of juveniles in this state specifically, but across the country even, who need help, we are 10 to 15 years behind schedule on trying to create those resources and help those kids. Staggering, right? Super, super overwhelming to think about. And so we were disgusted. We know our kid needs help. We know a few families around us with kids that need help. And because of the current financial crisis in this country and because of the way that things are handled and the way that mental health is viewed in this nation, those kids are left behind. And that's not right. And it's not going to be stood for. And so we reached out to, some local community mental health providers, and we asked them what they needed and what we could help them fight for. And one of the biggest things that they need is staff. There are not enough staff. There's not enough people who are willing to get in, see the problem, and stick around long enough to help fix it. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of work, and you get to deal with some things that nobody really wants to deal with. And so it becomes a problem. So then, we get left behind as families, and we get left to deal with those behaviors and with those mental health problems ourselves because there's just not enough staff out there in the nation to help. If you are a people person, if you are somebody who loves helping people and who loves to see positive results from what you contributed, please consider joining social services. Please consider joining into this fight with mental health issues. You could make a difference in a little kid's life every single day that you go to work. If you show up, you get your licensing, and you show up to this fight. We will help you. We will point you in the right directions. If we can get some backing and we can get some funds put together for it, we've considered putting together a scholarship fund to help some of these, young people who want to go into those programs and may not have the funds to do it, or they, need a little bit of an incentive to stay in the program. Please, please join in this fight and help us. It takes a village to raise a child. That's the reason that we named it Mending Minds Village. We are creating a village. We are putting together the effort to fight this fight for these kids because they can't fight for themselves. After about a year of fighting, and we'd gotten into it about 9 months, we met an incredible family. We met a couple of young kids that are victims of child abuse, and they are not victims. They are survivors. These kids are fantastic. They stand their ground, and they have stood their ground. They're fighting an uphill battle. If you followed our journey at all, you have been introduced to the story of Ty and Bryn Larson. They are two amazing kids who have been through hell in their lives. And they show up for other kids every single day because they can. They refuse to live in it, and they refuse to be victimized by it over and over again. And we adore them. We were so lucky to be included in their fight. It opened us up to some other issues inside of mental health, and it opened us up to fighting for victims of child abuse. And that's a fight in mental health that will take you down some real dark tunnels, and you will definitely hear some of the worst of the worst. But those kids have stood their ground despite what they've been through. And they have been the love and the support for other kids who are going through very, very similar things. And they are helping bring in change into this state that we couldn't possibly do alone. And so we're very, very proud and very honored that we've made really good friends with the Zarts and with Ty and Bryn Larson and with their grandma. We are beyond grateful for that connection and friendship. But we joined into that fight, and we got to do some pretty amazing things with that. We got to go and stand on the Capitol with this family and protest for their right to be free from child abuse and for their right to be free from the, court system who is not defending them in any fashion. And that battle still rages on. And that family we still love, and we still will support them. But that battle has gotten really intense and opened up some issues that we didn't know were in the state of Utah, let alone in the country. So if you're interested in looking at any of that, it is on our TikToks. It's on Mending Minds Village on TikTok. And you can always go and find Ty and Brandon and then Mama Jess as well. And, you can follow along on that battle. And if you have any questions, we're always happy to answer those. But, that battle kind of grew us a little bit because of the stuff that we tried to do to help fight for that family. And we definitely saw a couple of different issues inside of mental health that we wanted to fight for. And so we opened up 2 programs in 2023, and just recently, over the last couple of weeks, we've really kicked those programs off. And so one of the programs that we currently function is our mental health program. That was our flagship program. We're mental health advocates. We fight for you to get your mental health treatment, your testing, your medications, transportation, all that kind of stuff. We fight for, inside of mental health, we fight for child abuse victims. And we advocate at their guardian ad litem's office. We advocate in the courtroom if we need to, that these children deserve to be free from abuse, and they deserve to be free from the insanity that is the family court system. And then as a really sad final symptom of mental health, of depression, of anxiety, is this really well-known and very little talked about problem called suicide. We've had some personal losses with suicide, and as a board of directors, we talk every quarter in our board meetings about what can we do, what should we be doing, and why are we not doing it. And we talked about suicide as a program, as advocating for suicide prevention and supporting those that have gone through a loss of suicide, or that may have had an attempt on suicide and need support to get through that. And so we created the suicide prevention program inside of Mending Minds Village as of the first week of January of this year. And, we're finding in some counties that there are no prevention programs. There are no education programs. There are no support groups for suicide survivors. And so because of that, we developed our suicide prevention program. And that program is going to allow us to support those who have been victims of suicide, those families who are left here to pick up the pieces, those who have survived attempts on suicide. And, so we're going to talk about that program in another episode. But one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to the conversation around suicide is how selfish, that these people were selfish in taking their own lives. And that's one of my hot button issues. We're going to talk about that because it is not selfish in any way. You can't possibly understand the level of pain that a person is under when they have reached the point where they attempt or complete suicide. And, we definitely we don't want to support suicide, and we don't want to defend, losing someone to suicide. What we do want to do is support those who are at that point in their lives. And support those families who didn't know that their loved one was at that point in their lives. And we want to fight for those families, and we want to fight for you. If you are contemplating suicide, if you are contemplating hurting yourself, we want to be a support system for you and be here to listen when nobody else will, because that is the most important thing that you can do for somebody in that situation. We want to talk about in that episode, why mental health help may not be the right choice for somebody who is in that mental state, and why talking to a therapist is a great option, but it may not be the best option for somebody who is already at that level. And I know that's going to be controversial, and I know that's going to bring fire on us. And I'm okay for that. I'm ready for that conversation. We're going to, we're going to do an event. And so we're going to talk about on every episode what our events are going to be, what's coming up, and what, you can do to help us with those events and those parts. Coming up this June, as an example of that, we are putting together a suicide prevention walkathon, and it's going to be held right here in Morgan County, Utah. It's going to be held here at the Morgan High School football track. We're going to bring in vendors to come and help get through that night and support those that are showing up to walk and show support for suicide prevention. We're going to partner with people like Weber Morgan Health Department, Wasatch Mental Health, Valley Behavioral Health, the Weber Morgan Mental Health Office, Live On Utah we're hoping to partner with. And we're going to create a support for these families that need it. Another thing that we're doing here in Morgan is we are creating the first ever peer support group for suicide prevention in Morgan County. We're also partnering up with companies and with organizations in St. George, Utah and Richfield, Utah. We have a program where we've got a family willing to facilitate a program down there where we just meet and talk and play games. And the last thing you want to do when you're in that mindset in a suicidal state is talk about it. It's not easy. You've already reached a point where you feel like you're a burden. We want to support you through that, and we want to get you back off of that ledge. And we believe wholeheartedly that the way to do that is through just being there, playing games, bringing you treats, supporting you in that environment, and allowing you to talk to somebody when you are ready. It's not AA, guys. It's not going to be a court-ordered program. It's not going to be something that we turn into a negative. We want this program to be run by the peers who show up to get support. And we believe wholeheartedly that in doing that, we can talk some of these people back off of that ledge. And you can help with that. You can show up as a supporter, as somebody who's experienced attempts or loss. And you can be a part of that fight with us. We're going to talk about subjects like DMDD, which is the diagnosis that our daughter was given, and which is, a mental illness that is not well known. We're going to talk about illnesses like PANS or PANDAS, which is the same disorder, where, again, it's not very well known. It's not talked about. It's really misunderstood. And we're going to bring light to those subjects. We're going to talk about fundraising and how you can help support a mental health organization, how you can help our nonprofit and nonprofits like ours to support these families, these kids who desperately need us. We're going to talk about, topics that you send us. If you send me an email to caden@mendingmindsvillage.org with a subject that you want to hear talked about on this podcast, we will present that to you. We're going to reach out and try and bring on some local leaders. We're going to try and reach out to national leaders in mental health and talk to them about what's happening in this battle and how we can defend these children and how we can grow these programs to actually make a difference in this country. We've already talked about we're making a small difference in our local community. We want to reach out on a large platform. We want to reach out nationally over the coming years. And we want to create programs that we can repeat and that we can show different states how to help and defend these kids. We want you to be along for that fight. We're always looking for volunteers. Did you know that if you volunteer with a mental health organization or if you volunteer with a nonprofit organization, that your employer may compensate the organization for your time? So you will have money donated in your name as long as you show those hours tracked and they mail the check to the organization to support that organization. Many people don't know that your company may also offer a nonprofit donation match. Most Fortune 500 companies, we're talking companies like Home Depot and Smith's or Kroger, Albertsons, Fresh Market, Sears, Walmart even, large corporations, medium corporations, and even some small corporations will double your donation. You prove to them that you made a donation out of your check or made a cash donation to an organization. They will match it up to double of what you donated to that organization. If you want to help a nonprofit, Mending Minds is always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for help to get this organization out there to help these kids in need. But you can help any nonprofit of your choosing by the same method. We want to thank you 100% for the support that you guys have given to this organization. We want to thank you for always being there to share videos, to comment and like our videos, to give us recommendations on who we need to talk to and what we need to talk about. Without you guys, this organization would go nowhere. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your love. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming events in 2024. I will be doing another episode next week where we'll talk about what we have coming up. We'll talk about the events that we have lined up and what we're trying to put together next. We'll talk about how you can support Mending Minds Village and in our work and help us get these kids the mental health resources they so desperately need. We will talk about whatever topics it is that you enjoy. We're so excited to bring you subjects. We're excited to bring you this podcast as another part of Mending Minds Village reach and help and output. And we look forward to meeting all of you in person at our events that are coming up. Thank you so much for supporting our organization, for being a part of it, and for being a part of your kid's life and your kid's fight for mental health treatment. We hope that you all have a wonderful week. I hope that you all get a little bit of happiness and just put a smile on your face every single day. Every single day you need to be looking for the positivity in this world. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. It's been great. I can't wait to bring you the next episode next week, and we will see you again right here live on Mending Minds Village, Into the Light. Have a great day.